I spent 100 days in a Minecraft world full of dragons, and it's my goal to find, tame, and train as many as I can to build a massive dragon sanctuary. My task is to collect every variant of every dragon from the Wyrmroost mod, including the ultra-elusive golden glider, and find a place to call home while I'm at it. From the tallest peaks to the darkest caves, our journey will take us all across the world, but we'll have to be cautious, for danger lurks in the far reaches of the land, and an even greater peril lies beyond the gateway to the end. As day 11 began, it was time to set out again, so we left Macred behind. We stopped at another small ruin where we decided to craft a halberd so we'd be a little better able to defend ourselves before being greeted by an unexpected arrival. Although he didn't have any useful trades, we were able to borrow his leads, which would be necessary for some future tames. Continuing on our way, we eventually stumbled on the village of Zorksarit, and it was here that we'd finally tame our first dragon. Overworld drakes are tough and stubborn. Really stubborn. Night was falling, so we started just by luring it back to the village so we could sleep. With the overworld drake saddled and a new day now ahead of us, we could properly begin our tame, which was, in theory, a simple one. Just like with horses, all we'd have to do was jump on its back repeatedly until it finally calmed down and accepted us as a rider. Unlike with horses, though, overworld drakes are aggressive, which meant that every time I got bucked off, I'd have to immediately run for my life. Thankfully, it didn't take me too long to realize that overworld drakes are very slow in water. By luring this one into a lake, I was able to just dive under the water whenever he kicked me off to avoid his attacks, and then pop right back up to climb on his back and try again. After a few more tries, he finally calmed down, making him our first official tame of the run. With our new drake friend in tow, we gathered the wolves and set out again, stumbling on a tiny skeleton not long after. As evening fell, we spotted something interesting up ahead, but stopped to rest the night before investigating. Once day 13 had dawned, we jumped into the water for our first glimpse of a butterfly leviathan before hunting some fish that we'd need for future tames. We raided yet another small ruin before I was interrupted by a mischievous visitor. Hi, Luna. Hi, Luna. Oh, Luna. With Luna content to have worked some minor mischief, we continued on our way and eventually stumbled on the village of Azersword, and a little beyond that, the village of Wyrmroost. We'd spend the rest of the day there, sleep the night, and then continue our search into day 14. Savannah villages could sometimes have saddles in them, so they were always worth investigating. Leaving Wyrmroost behind, we spent the rest of day 14 traveling, and as day 15 dawned, we stumbled on an abandoned fishing hut. But while the hut didn't have too much of note, it wasn't far from another much more valuable structure, our first tower of the wild. Although they involved a risky parkour challenge, these towers always had a waystone at the top, as well as a chest of valuables that could even contain ender pearls. We didn't manage to find any pearls this time, but it would always be worth checking. The less time we'd have to spend tracking down endermen, the better. We looted an abandoned nether portal as dusk fell before sleeping the night and starting day 16. Most of which we'd spend walking. And walking. And walking. All of that walking eventually led us to another dragon skeleton, a village that we opted not to visit because it was swarming with cockatrices, and even more dragon skeletons. We ended up staying up into the night fighting monsters, but that led to us picking a fight I'd been hoping to avoid. This is not what I was hoping for, but... oh gosh. Okay, they killed it, whoo! And now we got zombies. Even geared up, those things are very, very scary. With the cockatrice dispatched, we could get back to the real reason we were out here at night, hunting endermen. We continued battling well into the night, and as midnight passed and day 17 began, we found ourselves in a perilous position. Oh, that's a backpack zombie, that's not good. That is really not what we want. The good news is this guy does do some damage. The bad news is this guy does not take very much damage. But we got him. That can go so bad if you're not careful. As night drew to a close, I decided to climb the nearby Tower of the Wild, getting a brief scare on the way up as one of our wolves grew up suddenly and teleported to me, but arriving at the top just in time for a spectacular view of the sunrise. With dawn finally here, we set out again, continuing on our way until we found the village of Marsvark and made a crucial discovery. Marsvark had bees, and since we'd found some leads earlier, that meant we could finally tame an alpine dragon. But of course, to do that, we'd have to find one, and so we set out again, stumbling on another tiny skeleton as day 17 drew to a close. As day 18 began, we came across the village of Wyrmroost, which was situated on the edge of a jacaranda forest. It was here that we'd end up setting up a sort of temporary base camp that we could use as a hub for our travels, at least until we found a more permanent place to call home. There was an overworld drake guarding the waystone though, and that made for a perfect opportunity to try and score another tame. My first attempts involved kiting it around the village, but I was still taking a lot of damage. With just a few hearts remaining, I decided to use what I learned the last time and take a plunge into the nearby river until I could successfully finish the tame. With the help of our new drake friend, we cleared out some dragon fruit drakes in the jacaranda forest, though unfortunately we didn't find any babies to tame. After that, we set off for the hills in search of alpine dragons, and got a bit of a surprise visitor on the way. Oh boy, hi Luna. What you doing? Hi, make good choices. Yeah, make good choices. I know. Hello. Over the next crest of the mountains, we found exactly what we were looking for and set up a waystone near a small group of alpine dragons in preparation for a tame. Then we headed back to Marsvark since we need to get our hands on a pollinated bee. Night was falling, so we stopped to sleep before heading back to the mountains at the start of day 19. With the bee in tow, we approached the dragons until one of them took notice and ate it, making for our first alpine tame. A flying mount would make a massive difference in the amount of ground we'd be able to cover, and that would be huge when it came to tracking down rare variants. But since there were 2 colors of alpine on that mountain, I figured it couldn't hurt to get a jump start on our collection, and so we headed back to Marsvark for another bee. Alright, now the tricky part of this is going to be making sure we get the right one interested, because we already have one yellow. We technically do not need 2. I mean, if one of them dies, we will need a replacement, but ideally, we can get this pink one here. Oh, there's a hippogriff over there too. I'm not thrilled about that, because for as much as— oh, perfect! As much as I like those guys, they are ornery. Alright, let's get you back to the village as well. With our alpine dragons acquired, we began making preparations to take flight, setting up a little bit of more permanent storage in Wyrmroost first. Then, with our inventory sorted, we set out into the night. Now that we were no longer landbound, traveling under cover of darkness had become a lot safer, allowing us to make the most of our limited time. But of course, safer did not always mean safe. Oh, that's trouble, that's trouble, that's trouble. What kind is it? Just gotta check. These guys are no joke. That is just a normal one, I think a female. Alpine dragons are fast, but they aren't very strong, and royal reds were just one of the many dangers we'd face. The farther out we ventured, the more likely we were to encounter the even bigger and stronger dragons from ice and fire, along with a myriad of other hostile beasts. As day 20 began, we stopped to mark the location of more dragon fruit drakes, and stumbled on a flock of Canary wyverns as well. Finally, we found a little village in the Zelkova forest, and stopped to sleep the last few hours of the night so we could explore it. This turned out to be a good move, as one of the village chests had a diamond in it, while another contained a boomerang, a strangely familiar force of chaos in my hands. This also seemed like a good time to craft a dragon soul crystal, which would allow us to carry our Wyrmroost dragons in our inventory. That would make transporting them from place to place much easier. Returning to Wyrmroost, we used this to pick up one of our overworld drakes, and then head back to hunt the dragon fruit drakes we'd found the previous night. This time we did get lucky. The first group of drakes we fought had a baby with them, and we were able to tame it afterwards. We wouldn't be able to tell if it was male or female until it grew up, but either way, it brought us one step closer to completing our dragon sanctuary.